Hi, my name is Dennis and I'd like to welcome you to a new episode of ITQonversations. I'm here today with James Regan and Johan van Amersfoort, and we're going to talk about the DaaS Readiness Assessment powered by Liquidware. James and Johan, maybe you can introduce yourselves together.
Sure. My name is James Regan. I'm a product marketing manager at Liquidware. I look after our monitoring and diagnostic solutions. So that is command control and Stratusphere UX.
Okay, nice. Johan?
Yeah, Johan van Amersfoort. I'm a technologist at ITQ. I have a focus on everything digital workspace and co-responsible for developing services and solutions based on the VMware EUC ecosystem and solutions around it that fill in that ecosystem, that fill gaps in that ecosystem.
Okay, nice. So James, can you tell us a little bit about Stratusphere UX?
Sure, yeah. So Stratusphere UX is very much it's our detailed diagnostics and monitoring solution. So what Stratusphere does is it has a series of agents deployed across your infrastructure, and it gathers all the metrics, and you can do trending analysis. You can look at things like, say, your license usage. If you got like a true up with Microsoft, you could say, okay, we have 30 copies of Visio, and 10 of them haven't been used in like a year. So it's that kind of detailed diagnostic look at your environment. The licensing thing is just one component of it. It's so comprehensive in what it does. Like it looks at, you can look at network level, you can look across, your hardware, and one of the things built in is something called process optimization. It will look at your Windows estate, and it can kind of tune those Windows machines to get extra lifetime out of them. So essentially extending the life cycle of your endpoint, which, as we know, is a huge thing when it comes to sustainability.
Okay, thank you very much for introducing that. But Johan, can you tell us, our viewers, what the DaaS Readiness Assessment powered by Liquidware is?
Absolutely. So for a while now, we have been using Liquidware Stratusphere, which James just mentioned, for assessment services. And we focus those assessment services primarily at design and deploys. So we come into a new customer, they have a request to build a new VDI platform, for instance. We run Stratusphere to run an assessment and take that information from the data lake to do sizing or to do an application assessment and define what application are used by what use case. But in the last 2 to 3 years, we got a lot of demand and questions by customers like, we are about to look to DaaS, or we want to migrate to DaaS, to basically cloud desktops or hosted desktops at the hypervisor. And quite often customers don't really know where to start with a migration to DaaS. Yeah. So what we did is we took the knowledge that we had about the assessments, we took the platform that's really awesome, the Stratusphere platform, combined those into a different offering, which we now call the DaaS Readiness Assessment. And what we essentially do with customers is, if they want to start that migration to a DaaS platform, but they don't know like where to migrate towards, because there's a lot of different offerings there, and they don't know where to start, we just propose to run the assessment. And we have a series of interviews. We run the Stratusphere platform and the assessment to gather as much information as possible, and basically create a recommendation, an advice, if you will, in a report that states like what's the right hyperscaler you should move towards, what will be the right DaaS type of offering. If you just look at AWS alone, they have 4 different offerings that VMware could support, which is AppStream, which is Workspaces Core with Horizon, which is EC2 with Horizon, or Horizon on VMC. So for us to understand, it's we know what to look for, but for a customer, it's quite challenging to look what kind of offering they need. So this service will definitely help customers to choose the right route, but also do a lot of things like cost optimization. Having your applications being part of the base image of a desktop that lives in cloud will cost you a lot of money. While if we could decouple those applications and put them in an app stack and run app volumes in the cloud, it saves them a lot of money. So will, based on the outcome of the assessment, take that information and recommend the right type of migration, the right t-shirt sizes, and how to, for instance, deploy applications to those machines.
James, Johan explained about the readiness assessment, but why is Stratusphere UX such a great tool for it?
Okay, so Stratusphere UX very much focused on detailed diagnostics and that, but also, as Johan mentioned there, we are all about cost optimization. We can figure out what your costs are across and how much things are costing you and how you can save money, whether it be through licensing. Do you need 200 copies of Visio moving to your new DaaS platform? Maybe not. Maybe it will tell you can trend it, look at, say, I maybe only need 10. So there's all about that. But I suppose also there's the ease of deployment. It's very simple to deploy Stratusphere and get up and running and start gathering that data. And that kind of, one of the things that distinguishes us from our competitors. So I think those are some of the main areas. I suppose the other one to look at is, we're platform agnostic. We don't care what cloud platform it is or on-prem. Also, Stratusphere is not a cloud-based solution. It runs on-prem, on physical, virtual. It doesn't make a difference. So you can run it inside your environment. So if you've data sovereignty concerns or anything like that, it's not a cloud platform. It's all internal. That data is gathered. It's your data. It has nothing to do with us. So those are just some of the ways I think that Stratusphere really stands out.
So the data, all the data from the customer stays on-prem?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Very much so.
Okay, thank you. Johan, assessment for a customer is a great tool, but what if a customer wants insights in their DaaS environment?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. So, like I mentioned before, we used the solution so far to do a lot of assessments. We basically run our services in 3 different phases. Phase 1 is what we call consultant and vision, where we do those assessments, we define roadmaps, we basically are at the starting point before actually starting a project. All projects that have a start and an end is what we put in phase 2, build and implement. And in that phase, we've been successful for a really long time. That was where our bread and butter was, right? So we did a lot of design and deploys, migrations, upgrades, etc. But what we have seen in the last couple of years as well is that, especially in complex projects, where we close a door and hand over the project to the customer, we found out after half a year or after a year when we come back that the project was too complex or the solution is too complex. So they have a hard time maintaining it, managing it. This is why we launched our managed services a couple of years ago. And what we're also proud to announce today is that we have taken the DaaS Readiness Assessment as a platform, but also can offer it as a service, which means that we start in phase 1 to assess a customer. In phase 2, we help a customer to migrate to DaaS. But in phase 3, when they are implemented, we build and we manage and improve the environment, which means that we will run Stratusphere as a service on top of their DaaS platform and continuously have that conversation with the customer around cost optimizations, about concurrency, about utilization, but also, for instance, on t-shirt sizes. You can imagine that upfront you might decide, well, I need 20 of these, 40 of these, and these have 4 CPUs and they might have a GPU. But eventually you find out that the t-shirt sizes you selected upfront might be too big or too small.
Yeah.
When they're too big, it will cost you too much. When they're too small, the DaaS platform will probably not perform and you'll start have people to complain.
Yeah.
So what you want to do is have a continuous feedback loop, and that's what we provide. We'll report on a monthly basis to customers what's happening in terms of trends and capacity, but also have a continuous feedback loop when it comes to proactive support. If we see that a desktop hangs or something else, we can proactively monitor that and communicate with the customer that we see something happening on the DaaS platform that needs to change. We basically offer it as a service, and I think this is a great solution for customers to stay in control over their investment, and that's really important, but also stay in control over user experience, which is one of the most important metrics in an EUC environment.
James, Johan mentioned, and you mentioned also about the DaaS environments, but which DaaS environments does Liquidware support?
This is the great thing about Stratusphere. It doesn't care. We're completely platform agnostic, so we don't care if it's AWS, Azure, GCP, VMware, Citrix. It doesn't matter whatsoever. We can gather information from any platform. So really, when it comes to DaaS or cloud-hosted desktop, it doesn't make a difference to us. We can gather all of the data for any platform.
Okay, good to know, and I think for our viewers also. Johan, if customers want to know more about the DaaS Readiness Assessment powered by Liquidware, where do they need to go?
Yeah, great question. So first of all, there's a link beneath this video in the show notes. So if you look at the notes of the YouTube video, there's a link, and if customers click there or viewers click there, they can find the more information on the ITQ website. They can check the ITQ website themselves as well. If they go to the EUC section and user computing, they'll find the link to the DaaS Readiness Assessment as well. Or drop me an email, johan@itq.nl, and I'm happy to respond to anything. So looking forward to what our viewers would think of the service.
Okay. Thank you for mentioning that. Thank you, James, and thank you, Johan, for being here at ITQ and telling us all about the DaaS Readiness Assessment powered by Liquidware. To our viewers, if you like what you've seen, you want to know more, please subscribe to our channel, and I hope to see you next time.